On this episode of Social Tech Battlefield, I'm going to be talking to Mike Ross, who is a competitive gamer. Now, I'm doing a series of these type of interviews with these competitive gamers because I'm really interested in their community and their lifestyle. But also, too, when we're talking about battles, I think they're at the top of the list when it comes to battling because they have to battle some of the elite gamers at all these different tournaments in order to make money and survive. And I think Mike Ross has a very, very cool story that hopefully you will enjoy as well. So we're going to check out this episode.
Tracking mentally. Wow! Wow! Okay. Double wow! Now crowd on their feet. Crowd's getting ready to explode. What'll it be? Mike Ross! They're off on their feet. They're going nuts. Ah!
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Soldier Tech Battlefield. I'm your host, Mark Watson, otherwise known as Soldier Knows Best. And I have a special guest in the house, Mike Ross. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming, man. Now, you're known in the world of Street Fighter. You're a competitive gamer. I'm all into gaming, and you look like you can beat anybody in this game. Now, tell us how you got started. I watched a documentary on you. It was pretty interesting. Tell you how you got started with playing this game.
I guess what got me into Street Fighter 4 is I'll say it was like kind of the right game at the right time. So when it came out, I had nothing else to do. You know, I was finishing up school and all that stuff, and I didn't really want to spend a lot of time at home. But so it was at the arcade, and it happened to be at an arcade that didn't close until 5 or 6 in the morning.
5 a.m. Arcade. That sounds like heaven to me. But I was
right, exactly.
So you found out you were really good in the game, and you started practicing. Now, when was that first step into competitive gaming? Where and when did you do that?
Sometime in the 90s. When they used to have, this legendary place called Blockbuster Video. I don't know if anybody remembers that place.
We got one or two around here in St. Louis.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they had a Blockbuster tournament, and the games were Virtua Racing, NBA Jam, and Sonic and Knuckles. It was a 3-part tournament, and I believe I got in second place at that one. And that's when I was like, oh man, I'm beating all these dudes that are like twice my age. So, I got to keep playing this stuff. This is kind of fun. But then I didn't take it seriously again until about early 2000 when the fighting game Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was out. And that's when I was introduced to the whole community. At the time, that was probably a couple hundred people. Whereas opposed to now, it's, hey, you got over 100,000 people watching these streams, so it's grown a lot.
You got the bug, you got the gaming bug now, and now you're starting to travel and go to all these different tournaments. Now I've watched some of your videos, and it gets pretty intense. You're definitely focused while you're gaming. Now, what is that experience? What is that experience like going to a place and having people just cheering and you fighting the top guys in the world in a game? How's that experience?
It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing thing that I'm doing something that I did just at a pizza shop or something in front of nobody, but just for the thrill. I just wanted to beat whoever was on that machine. I sit back in the corner, I'm watching him play. I'm saying, does he know what he's doing? Yeah, he does. I'm gonna put my quarter in, and I'll play him. And that's always been the mentality. And I know a lot of other people that do this share that same feeling, but I'm still that same person. Just fast forward another 10, 15 years, and now I have that same mentality, but there's a couple thousand people watching in the room. There's 20 plus thousand people watching at home, people cheering. That still is something you can never really get over. It's still always going to be a crazy thing, and I just love it. That's a part of the bug. That's what keeps me going.
What was your toughest challenge at a competition? Like who's your arch nemesis?
I have an arch team, I can say, and they're all my good friends, but there's a competitive gaming team called Team Evil Geniuses, and some of the players on there are Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, PR Balrog, and Flo. Every tournament I lose to one of them. Every single tournament I go to. If they're in the brackets, it's a big ongoing joke. For example, I just got back from a big tournament this past weekend in San Francisco called NorCal Regionals. In Street Fighter, I got 7th place, losing to Evil Geniuses Justin Wong and Evil Geniuses Momochi. And in the other game, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I lost to Evil Geniuses Justin Wong and Evil Geniuses Ricky Ortiz. I got 5th place in that one. So it's I have to get over that hump. I cannot beat those guys, but I will eventually. It might be another 20 years, but I'm going to do it when Street Fighter 8 comes out.
You sound like me, because I got 2 older brothers, and I saw the documentary where you used to play your brother, and you're gonna keep trying until you can eventually beat them. And I'm the same way when I try to game against them.
Yeah, we can't settle for less, man.
Now, what does your family think about you playing? Because of course you went to school for one thing, and now now you're playing games for full time. What does your family think about it?
It's funny, right? Because for the longest time they didn't understand it. And mainly because I never tried to explain it. I just knew right away. I was like, they're not going to get this. Nobody's going to get this.
I was on a bus, and people were asking me about my kids, right? So I started in talking about Michael. And they said, what does Michael do? And I said, well, to the best of my knowledge, he's a video gamer, right? A professional, if that's what, at the highest level. They said, what is your son's name? I said, his name is Mike Ross. And there's a kid on the bus, and his father asked him, says, hey, Judah, because Judah's a gamer too. He said, hey, Judah, you ever heard of Mike Ross? And the guy looks back and he says, oh, yeah, he's big.
Once my dad and, both my brother, once they actually, went to one of the tournaments and saw it, both of them pretty much told me, they're like, no, you can't stop doing this. This is too good. So they're understanding now.
Now, I see every time I see you play, you're using E Honda for the most part. Now,
Yes.
What was your specific reason for choosing him to fight with?
Well, the main thing was, if you date it far back to when Street Fighter 2 first came out, I just remember, we found this golden sheet that had all of the moves and how to do the moves and the name of the moves. And I'm just looking at the characters. I'm like, this guy has 100 hand slap. I want to hit people 100 times. That's the coolest thing ever. So I always tried to mess with him back then. And then once the new game came out, I tried all the other characters first. I did mediocre with them, but then when I went to E Honda, I actually started winning with them. I was like, oh yeah, it just clicks. It was like, it just felt right.
Now, I'm pretty sure Capcom is noticing, all these players getting together and playing in tournaments and playing these games. Now, have they come to you or anybody else as far as advice on the games, like what they can do to make them better?
Actually, yes. That's one thing that Capcom is really, really good about is, for example, as I mentioned, they're making a newer version of the game, and they've actually enlisted the help of the entire community to send them feedback on what kind of changes they want for each character, possibly system changes and stuff like that. They take all that feedback and then try to incorporate with, the ones that make sense.
Now, you've been playing Street Fighter, you've just been playing competitive gaming for a long time now. Now, what is your ultimate goal at the end of this? Like, what are you trying to reach?
Right now, I guess what I would like to see is I still would like to see all of this blow up to a more mainstream level, so that, if I am talking to somebody casually on the street and they ask me what I do and I explain it to them, they'll be like, oh yeah, I get it. Rather than have to show them pictures, videos, Twitter, whatever stuff to try to explain it. How to get to that point, I'm still trying to figure that out, but that's what I'm working on.
Well, definitely, man. We'll be definitely keeping track of you, man. You're doing an awesome job, man. And I thank you for coming on the show. And one day I want to challenge you in Street Fighter, and I'll probably give you Spawn or somebody. I'll use somebody else, but I'll give you a challenge. I'll give you a run for your money.
No problem, man. I appreciate it.
Problem, Mike. Where can they find you? What's your Twitter? You got a YouTube? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys want to follow me on Twitter? It's Twitter @thatMikeRossGuy. Facebook is the same thing. Feel free to message me, ask me advice, tips on anything and everything, and I'll respond.
All right, man. Again, thanks for coming on the show. And everybody who is watching, I want you to leave a comment down below what you think about our conversation about Street Fighter and competitive gaming in general. And do make sure you go follow Mike and challenge him and tell him I sent you, and hopefully beat him, give him a little bit of money in the tournament or something. But anyway, again, thanks guys for watching. I will see you next week, another episode of Soldier Tech Battlefield, and I will catch you later. Peace.